The John Lebang Show has been known to make people laugh, sing, think, scream, throw things in rage, and generally lose their minds. Listener discretion is advised.
Worldwide and out to the greater universe, you're listening to the John Lebang Show.
Greetings, Earthlings, and alert the media. The banger is on the microphone. Another week of jam-packed, loaded sonic vibrations is headed your way. Boy, and we are loaded. There has been so much going on in the news, let alone we've got to make some announcements. So we were trying to figure out how are we going to do this first hour this week, and we're like, well, let's save the major news for the second, third, fourth segments. And let's do the announcements in the beginning because we have quite a bit of announcements for you, the listener, as well as the station managers and program directors out there as we're heading into our summer scheduling, and that changes up a little bit. We are normally in the summer we take some time off to get some relaxation for one thing, but also to prepare and get ready for the fall scheduling because it really starts heating up political-wise as well as news-wise in September and October. And because of that fact, we take a little vacation, because the banger works hard each and every week here. We bring you 2 hours each and every week. And they're always jam-packed, loaded, filled to the gill with either news, comedy, a little bit of both, rock and roll music. We've got all that this week coming up too. In fact, the scheduling, how it's breaking down for everybody, right here on the John Lebang Show. Let me get out my notes. Of course, this week we're doing regular broadcasting, so you have no worries there, folks. You want to hear what's up in the news, what's going on with the banger, and all other sorts of things out there. We'll be covering it this week. Now, next week, we're going to be beginning, I guess, a little early this week, and that's where I was going before I diverted myself. But the summer schedule here, normally we take a good portion of July off, and then all of August off, or the majority of August off, to rest and all that other sort of thing, like I said earlier. We're not going to do it exactly that way this year. We're going to spread it out a little bit more. We're being, unfortunately, preempted on one of our stations beginning next week, at least during the original broadcast hours where it originates. And so because of that, they're having a concert or something, I don't know. And because of that, we're not going to, what we're going to do, we were going to save this for a little bit later on, but we're going to bring out Banger Verse 5 for next week for all the stations out there, for all of you listening. So that'll be exciting. You'll get to hear the funny Banger Universe. This one, we don't have a title yet for it, but it should be fun for you, people who enjoy all the cast, the characters here on the John Lebang Show. In hour number 2 next week, we're going to be having regular broadcasting, and normally at the end of the month, we've been having our good friend Derek Shelmerdine come in, and as we have been, he's going to be back with us with a little more rock and roll unraveled, and we're going to be discussing who's on tour right now, some of the classic rock bands that is, and what happened in the month of June and July as far as history is concerned in rock and roll. So that should be exciting. The week after, we're going to be giving you couple best of shows for both hours as we are moving into that summer broadcasting schedule. Normally, we, like I said, and this is primarily because it's the 4th of July, Independence Day, and I'd like to rerun some of our best independent stuff and some other things we're going to be doing. And this gives me actually a week off because we've got a lot coming up, folks. I mean, there's so much coming up in the announcements, you won't believe it. In fact, I was probably supposed to do the announcements before I was going to tell you this scheduling. So we're going to divert back to the announcements, and then we'll come to the scheduling and keep you all confused, because that's what the banger likes to do, I guess. Not really. You know, I try to sort through the things so you're not confused. But some of the major announcements that are coming up, and you already heard one of them, is that the Banger Verse 5 will be out next week. And all of you who are listening will enjoy that. Coming up in September, and this is a big thing, we've been asked to start a third hour. And so we're going to be making it available to all the stations carrying the John Lebang Show. And we're going to be carrying a third hour of the John Lebang Show, and it's going to be a music hour. So we're going to be playing only music in that third hour. So for all of you out there who are music connoisseurs and you don't hear some of these bands that we're going to be playing, because most of the bands, or all the bands that will be featured on the third hour of the John Lebang Show, will be unsigned bands, unknown bands, very seldomly heard bands. You're not gonna get any songs that you're hearing on mainstream radio. We're not gonna do that. All the other shows that play mainstream and a little local music, you know, we're gonna save all the mainstream for them, and we're gonna carry the unknown artists, the local bands from all over the world. We've already got a great selection started. Bands, if you want to send something in, hang on a minute. We're making a page on the website coming up starting in July, and you'll be able to submit your song, one song at a time, that is, to the John Lebang Show. And, you know, maybe you'll be featured on this third hour that we're going to be taking on. It's been requested for a while now by a few of our fans, as well as one station out there, and we thought, you know what? We can do a third hour. Third hour is easy if it's, you know, about local bands and stuff. We can do it. In fact, we're hoping by the beginning of next year, we're doing 5 hours with more focused broadcasting for each hour. So that way, if you listen to the John Lebang Show for certain things, you know what hour that we're going to mostly feature that stuff in, and you can tune in there. And that way, if you don't want to hear certain things, you know, we understand there's a lot out there, and some nights when you tune in, it's not exactly the broadcasting you expected, and that's okay. I mean, we're a variety show here on the John Lebang Show. We don't discuss one sort of topic. We don't hold to one political view as far as certain things are concerned. And we don't just do that. We do comedy. We talk about space, news, music now. So any of you stations out there that are interested in carrying the third hour of the John Lebang Show, we'll be sending you some information on that, and you can schedule it accordingly if you are so obliged to take on the third hour, which I have a feeling that third hour is going to get a lot of interest, and which will catapult us even further up the charts. See, we're trying to be a very wide-ranging show. And as we add more hours, as time goes by, it seems like every year and a half we're adding another hour. So we're looking to add this third hour, and we're already set on it. So it's just a matter of getting songs in, which we have a good roster as we speak. So that'll get us on a nice foothold there. And then as bands go to the website and go to the webpage there and send us their music, we'll be adding songs to the roster. Also, in September, and this is falling into the scheduling because of the summer scheduling, we'll finish that up here in a minute, folks. But it looks like in September we're going to have some major announcements to be broadcasting out to you. In fact, the announcements are probably so big that I don't know if I should be even mentioning them right now. But we're going to be taking on, or I should say some stations, or a lot of stations, look like to be adding the John LeBang Show. A lot of them wanted to add us already, and with the summer scheduling coming up, I thought, we were discussing the terms of being on their station and having our show on their station, and I was just like, why don't we wait till September? We'll make a big splash. I'll announce all the new stations, and we'll get a good run heading into probably one of the major sections of the year where the John LeBang Show thrives, and that's from September, October, and November, because a lot of things are going on during that time period, and we report it, and we're usually giving you excellent broadcasting during those time periods as well. So, but it looks like we're probably going to be on I don't want to say, we're so close to announcing these things that sometimes I get a little excited and I want to tell you, and I can't tell you, and now I'm teasing you, and you're like, John, just tell us, dude, and I can't, and I want to, and I got to just chill out, because it's so dang cool. There's so many cool things happening. When we get back in September onto full-blown every week regular broadcasting, you guys are going to be amazed at what happened in this little time period that we took. I'm not even going to say we took off, because you're going to get quality broadcasting. Well, let's get back to the schedule now. So in July, as I said, the first week of July, the 4th of July week, Independence Day week there, we're taking off. You're going to get the best of Banger both hours. Then during the week of the 8th through the 15th, you're going to get the first hour is going to be regular broadcasting. Normally we would be running best ofs all through July and then hitting you up with these specials in August. This year we're doing it a little different. We're going to do the first hour, so we're not taking the full month off. We're actually going to be working in July a little bit for you. And the first hour is going to be regular scheduled broadcasting on the John LeBang Show. And the second hour will be best of. And that's the week of the 8th through the 15th. The week later, the 15th through the 22nd, we're going to have a to-be-announced broadcast right there on the John LeBang Show. We don't know if we're going to run a best of or we're going to run live, brand new regular broadcasting, because if something big happens, we want to be available to do that. So we're leaving that one open. The week after, we're switching it up a little bit. We're going to be moving Rock and Roll Unraveled. This is regular broadcasting, and that'll be the week of the 22nd through the 29th of July. Rock and Roll Unraveled will be in the first hour that month, when that's with our good friend Derek Shelmerdine. In the second hour, you're going to start getting the regular August broadcasting, and that'll be Banger Verse 1. Then we'll move into August, or at least July 29th through August 5th. You'll get the Invaders from Alien X Part 1 and 2 during the broadcasting. The week of August 5th through the 12th, you're going to get a Very Shady Experience and Banger Verse 2. Then through August 12th through the 19th, that week there, all the stations will be getting Captain Rainbow's Civil War and Banger Verse 3, and that'll cover both hours. The 19th through the 26th of August, you're going to be getting Destiny Wars Part 1 and 2. Yes, that's right. So you're going to get a rehash on Destiny Wars. If you missed it the last time it was around, you'll be getting that one, Part 1 and 2. The 26th through the 2nd, we're going to be doing the Banger Verse 4 and 5. And that gets us into September. When we get back into September, we're still figuring it out, what we're going to be doing exactly. We have Derek Shelmerdine that normally comes in at the end of the month. We're probably going to shift that episode to the first weeks in September, as well as during this whole time we're off, We don't take it off, really. We just need to make time to do things. And one of the things we're going to be doing is finishing up Destiny Wars 3, as well as a second. That's right, a second special. I don't want to give the name out yet because I'm not sure that's going to come out at the same time Destiny Wars 3 is going to be coming out. But we're planning for Destiny Wars 3 sometime in September for you. Hopefully, right as we come back into the scheduling, where we're going to have 3 hours, with the third hour being all music. So there's a lot of exciting things happening on the John LeBang Show. You're going to be loaded with entertainment while we're taking a little respite there. And even though it's not really a respite, it's a way for us to set our ducks in order, get ourselves ready for the big September push going into the new year, and then pushing on through 2018, which we're halfway to 2018 already. It's amazing. So, gentlemen, I forgot that. We can't forget the gentlemen. Ladies and gentlemen, we don't want to discriminate here on the John LeBang Show. We've got to take a quick break as you hear the music playing in the background. Don't go anywhere. The heart of the John LeBang Show, the meat, so to speak, is coming your way right after this. Don't think about touching that dial.
That would be a mistake.
The John LeBang Show will be right back after this. That's guaranteed, man. Like some good Thai stick. If you are elderly, disabled, receiving SSI or Medicaid, and you have a medical need or require assistance with daily housework, shopping, grooming, medication, you may qualify for housekeeping at no cost. Call now. VIP Home Healthcare, 248-579-3805. VIP Home Healthcare, there when you need them. That's 248-579-3805. Check out the new book from Derek Shelmerdine,
Rock and Roll Unraveled.
It tells the story of rock and roll from its roots right up until the mid-70s punk.
Rock and Roll Unraveled.
Not just the music, but also the events that shaped the music.
Rock and Roll Unraveled.
It includes the backgrounds to recording sessions, singles, album releases, births and deaths, epic concerts, and festivals.
Rock and Roll Unraveled.
Shelmerdine has made a painstaking effort to document pretty much every event that would prove significant in shaping popular music.
Rock and Roll Unraveled.
Purchase the book at www.rockandrollunraveled.com. Follow him at Twitter at R&R Unraveled, and look him up on Facebook at Rock and Roll Unraveled.
Rock and Roll Unraveled.
By author Derek Shelmerdine.
Available now. You're listening to the John LeBang Show.
It's hydroponic radio for your brain, man.
Feel smarter yet? Ladies and gentlemen, I didn't even get to all the announcements, so I'm going to save them for later on in the show in the first hour here, maybe right before Cool or Uncool, because I get to rambling, and sometimes I don't get to everything I wanted to get to, and especially when it comes to announcements, that's not your primary reason for showing up to the John LeBang Show. But I'm going to ask this question because I think it's a really, really relevant question. Should the mainstream manufactured news be held as maybe even charged as an accomplice to the shooter who took out or attempted to take out those Republicans at that baseball practice? Just a question. Because they are the ones that have been ginning up all this hate for not only the Republicans, but for Donald Trump. They're the ones out there getting people enraged, inciting violence. And then we got that stupid play where it's depicting the assassination of President Donald Trump. That's what kills me. We got these people on the left here who always talk about tolerance and coexistence and all this togetherness stuff. Yet, the people that don't want to or don't believe in their way of life, don't want to follow their rule, They use violence. They want to destroy people. Look at the protesters at the Donald Trump rallies. Now we've got this shooter, a Bernie supporter. See, there's a socialist for you, full blown, ladies and gentlemen, if not a communist. When you don't follow through with their way of thinking, when you don't get along with their way of thinking, they start by calling you names and these kind of things, and then when that doesn't work, they resort to violence and destruction. And it's funny how they're the ones who are always preaching about the coexisting and getting along and nonviolence, yet they're the first ones to go out there and start violence, start trouble. And now we have this shooter. And don't think this is going to be the first of and only one. This is going to inspire more. Because the mainstream manufactured news has incited these people with their rhetoric, with their lies. The mainstream fake news, where they leave out half the story, which is the most relevant parts of the story, because it doesn't fit the narrative that they want to produce. And because they're out only for themselves, the mainstream media, they're not worried about factual truth, because that doesn't pay the bills. They're looking to get their listeners, their readers, their viewers to continue to watch. And to do that, you need scandal, you need violence, because that gets people interested. Even if it's to the point of despise, at least people are watching you, the mainstream manufactured news. And to this day, I can't understand why the majority of people, the sheeple of the world, give so much attention to these mainstream manufactured outlets that have been proven to be liars. Look at the New York Times. We had the Comey hearings where Comey even says that was fake news. The New York Times comes out with classified information on Donald Trump and all this, and it's fake news. They don't retract it. They don't say, oh, sorry. They just tell you it was an anonymous source and you're supposed to believe it. And because there's millions of dollars pumped into those organizations, because advertisers are too stupid to realize that they're paying into the National Enquirer online, on TV. I mean, CNN, that's all it is anymore. MSNBC, NBC. They don't talk about the real stuff. Oh, they're there when there's a building burning in London so they can show it on their screens and they can rehash the same information over and over and over and over. As long as that building is burning and you can watch it burn and you can go, oh my goodness, that's terrible. And you continue to watch their stations and they repeat. I mean, I sat through, because I was interested in that fire myself in London, I sat through and watched the videos. And I can't believe the BBC, that is, now I'm speaking on them, how often they repeated the same information. Every 35 to 40 seconds, that it was a repeat, rehashing the info. And when it got too much for the reporter, the news anchor, to say it anymore, they switched them out. So every 15 minutes or so, a new person would come in and say the same thing over and over and over. But it doesn't matter, because you were just watching the video, and whatever they were telling you was implanted in there, because they kept repeating it on you. or to you. So here we have another instance where the mainstream manufactured news, now I'm back to the shooter situation. We have an instance where the mainstream manufactured news incites violence. Now, should they be held accountable? Should they be brought up on charges for inciting these people? We have people online that can't say anything because that might incite violence, although they seem to let ISIS and various hate groups out there, how they have accounts on Facebook and Twitter and all that, I don't know, but they're allowed. But the average Joe, if you're a right-wing guy and you're complaining about something on the left, oh, that's hate speech. Speaking of hate speech, Canada up there, they're now talking about if you can't be general neutral where you're in your opinions and you don't use the right pronouns, you can be charged. If you don't call somebody a Z when they're not a Z, or when they're a Z, you can't call a man who dresses as a woman and has breast implants. You can't call him a weird guy. You can't call him a mental case. No, you've got to call him a Z or something, a tranny. You got to make sure that you're describing him properly, or you could go to jail. I mean, that's where the mainstream manufactured news isn't doing their job, because that's a bunch of malarkey. That would even, a law would even be voted into. It's Canada. I understand it's a second-rate country. Okay, they're going to say that's a first world country. But you guys, no freedom is going to be allowed in Canada anymore. If you can't even say what you want to say, and if you misspeak because you say that's a dude, that's a weirdo because he decided to get breast implants and wear dresses. If you say what I just said, that's it. You could go to jail in Canada. It's just unbelievable where this world has ended up in my lifetime. I can't believe what's happening. And then I realize it all falls down on the mainstream media and political correctness. The two most damaging things probably on the planet, besides some kind of weaponry. The mainstream media taps into your brain and messes with it. Political correctness stops you in your tracks from saying anything that you believe to be true if it doesn't feel correct, if it doesn't fall in line with the politically correct view. And politically correct doesn't mean it's correct, doesn't mean it's right. It just means it's politically correct. Whatever the political winds determine doesn't mean if it's right. In fact, most of the political correctness is screwy, whacked up, and wrong. But we have a lot of crazy people that believe that political correctness is the way to go. That's a whole other subject that we're probably going to get into this hour. But as you can see, folks, you're hearing the music again. I'm running long. That means we got to take a quick break. 30 minutes already in the can. Can you believe it? More on the flip side.
Don't go anywhere. The John Lebang Show will be right back.
You'd be crazy to change the dial now.
CRRM, CarePoint Billing Services. Their billers and managers are all dedicated to working for you to increase your profits. For more information, call CRRM at 248-579-3805. CRRM, CarePoint Billing Services.
Fans, do you need a video for your brand new song but don't have a lot of money? Then contact John Lebang. His reasonable rates, professional look, and fast turnarounds will help get that song off the ground. Contact him at jlebang.com.
And I'd like to welcome our new sponsor, Pane in the Glass, commercial and residential window cleaning. For a beautiful, sparkling shine that's crystal clear, call Pane in the Glass Window Cleaning. You can find them on Facebook at Pane in the Glass. Hey, man, it's at the bottom of the hour, man. Do you know where your kids are, man?
Forces of darkness, the treasonable maggots who collaborate must, can, and will be wiped from the face of the earth.
And speaking of fake news, ladies and gentlemen, the mainstream manufactured news media has gone off the deep end when they invite Alex Jones to come on what would be considered one of the premier anchors shows on regular mainstream manufactured news, and that's Megyn Kelly. She's having Alex Jones on for an interview, and old Alex, in true Alex forms, leaks the extra stuff before it comes out. I mean, there you go, Megyn. Just for even bringing on Alex, and I know what she was trying to do. She was trying to discredit all the wacky right-wingers like Alex Jones, and they try to tie people like myself into, the same bubble as Alex Jones and other people as well. And I'm like, Alex Jones, Megyn Kelly, I know what you're trying to do. You're trying to discredit the whole alternative media. But Alex Jones, even though you think, and a lot of other people think, he's the king of the alternative media, he's not. He's just the one who found a way to lead, to get money, to get ahead. And that's because of his antics. I'm sure Megyn Kelly, if William Cooper was still alive, a man with way more credibility than Mr. Alex Jones, I'm sure you wouldn't have even considered an interview with him. But look what happened, Megyn, and she's going downhill. I can't believe this woman is going to be still a broadcaster. I think maybe this is the demise. She had Trump on, that was a disaster. She had Putin on, that was a disaster. Now she's got Jones. I mean, how far are you falling, Megyn? From the tree. You're desperate. And then people will say, well, I'm sure if Alex would call your show, you would have him on for an interview. Maybe. But I'm not going to let him get away with anything. I'm a nobody, though. He can help my ratings. He's not going to help Megyn Kelly's ratings. All she was trying to do was discredit the entire alternative media movement. And then Alex leaks all this stuff before it comes out. And I'm like, that's awesome. That's just awesome. Because he does discredit us in some regard, but he's got loyal followers. You're not going to change the minds of the people who love Alex Jones. You're not going to go, they're not just going to wake up from their stupor and go, Alex is a nut job. It's just not going to happen. It's like the Trump supporter. You're not going to sway them. The people who loved Trump before the election and voted for him still love Trump. The people who voted for Trump because they were anti-Hillary, those people, they may be swaying on how they feel about Trump, but not the diehard Trump supporter. It's the same thing as the Alex Jones. You're not going to shift that stuff. Yet, Megyn Kelly attempts to do such a thing through an interview that Alex Jones just undermines her completely. So, the mainstream manufactured news looks for anything to draw in numbers. And that's what, unfortunately, they've become. They've become a numbers junkie game. They only care about ratings and making money. And a lot of them aren't doing so well in either one because they don't understand that the people don't want antics, that the people who watch the news don't want propaganda. We want information that we can digest, and we don't want you to tell us what to think. We just want the information given to us in a fair and balanced, to steal from Fox, way. We just want the news given to us truthfully and honestly, without bias. And we figured out that the mainstream manufactured news, or a lot of us have, is not, one, bias. Two, they don't give us the full truth and nothing but the truth. It's all based on political view. It's all based in which way the wind blows. In other words, political correctness. And we get things shoved down our throats that we don't want. And some of us, the ones who don't want to put up with the mess, the ones who are intelligent enough to go on our own, and we don't need the mainstream manufactured news to tell us what to think, we'll go find out the news on our own. Well, we've dumped you. You're gone. We don't even watch you anymore. And if we do watch you, it's only to highlight what you are saying so we can discredit you for all the lies you guys put out, or the fake truths, or the half-truths. Because that's where the news has ended up. It's not the news anymore. And these people who get paid exorbitant amounts of money, they have more money than they know what to do with. They're never, or hardly ever, held accountable for either being wrong or outright lying. It's like the weatherman. The weatherman can be wrong on a daily basis, and the dude keeps his job. Well, the news media isn't far behind, and the politician is right there with them. Notice that that's a nice combination. The news media and the politician, and how they're both incompetent at what they do, yet they continue to hold their position and get paid. So are they really incompetent, or are they biased? Are they on a quest for an agenda? That's the most likely scenario, and that's why it's so hard to break through. Because you've got the political clout and the media clout feeding us everything. And the people in the alternative media, including Alex Jones, who's a sensationalist at best. Sure, he gives you nuggets of truth here and there. And then everything else is feeling, is energy, is tapping into your emotions. I mean, he's the bullhorn man. Remember when he would always go to these protests and he was out there? I'm Alex Jones. And a lot of us have gotten tired of the mainstream manufactured news. We're tired of Alex Jones. We're seeing what's happening. There's a lot of us that have watched Alex throughout the years. See, he's new to a lot of people, but not to the alternative media. Even some of us, yours truly included, followed him for a little bit until we figured out who he was. And in fact, usually we figured out who he was after we did deeper research, and we came across a gentleman named William Cooper, the real leader of the truth movement, the real patriot, the real alternative media forefather. Not Alex Jones. Most of the things that have been exposed through what the government has done, or secret organizations, secret societies, the Illuminati, that was all exposed by William Cooper. Alex Jones picked up the mantle and sensationalized everything. Go listen to some of his recordings during the 2000, where the year was changing from 1999 to 2000 there, and how the Russians were invading and all. I mean, that was Alex Jones sensationalizing. And here Megyn Kelly was going to, in some ways, lend him credibility, in other ways try to discredit him, at least to her audience. And it looks like it became a major failure as Alex Jones leaks out stuff, and poor Megyn there is left holding the bag again. I don't think she's very smart, and to me, she's very much a me person, kind of going along with the selfie society that we're currently surrounded by. It's amazing. That's another whole topic. But see, all this is building up to something, ladies and gentlemen. You got the mainstream manufactured news that manipulates your thought patterns by telling you things that fit an agenda, whether it's right, wrong, half-truth, innuendo. It doesn't matter, as long as they're shaping the narrative to fit their agenda or the agenda that they're a part of, which just happens to be a form of political correctness brought on by the lousy politicians. See, this shooter, now they're going to start making a big deal about people who talk bad about politicians and stuff, and it's going to affect people like myself who do not ever call for violence against any politician. I just want certain politicians, and the majority of them, thrown out of office. I don't want anything bad to happen to them. I don't want them shot. Yet, this instance where this Bernie Sanders supporter, a far lefty, bordering on communist, this guy, the mainstream news, because they don't want to and they haven't talked about how far left this guy was and how much of the news that he was talking about on his Facebook page was derived from the mainstream outlets that I'm discussing this evening. If you look at this guy's Facebook page, you notice that the talking points, the narratives, are straight out of the mainstream manufactured news media. CNN, MSNBC, NBC. Yet these people, the MSNBCers, the CNNers, they're going to shift the narrative because they can't be held accountable for this sort of thing. They don't want any responsibility, yet they hold the primary responsibility in firing this guy up, in inciting this guy. They're going to shift the blame on alternative media, social media, and it's going to be people like myself and others who are on this lower tier to middle tier, depending on where you want to put us all. We're going to be the ones that are going to be focused and blamed for this. They're going to shift it, saying this guy believed this, and we can't have alternative sources of media. You've got, we had the Facebook thing just a few months ago looking for fake news and how you can tell what fake news is. And it's basically anything from the alternative media. That was their assumption. That was what they were trying to get in the people who mindlessly, believe the mainstream manufactured news. And because Facebook is embedded with the government, which is embedded with the mainstream news, you can see how this is all connected and why you get these social experiments out of Facebook telling us and showing us certain things to see how we react to things. And the mainstream manufactured news is not going to accept the responsibility of inciting this gentleman, this killer, who had the worst shot in history, because apparently there were more than 50 shots, close to 100 shots, and he didn't, as far as I can tell, he didn't hit a whole lot of people. He was missing. So here was a lefty who hates guns probably, went out and bought a gun and says, I'm going to teach these Republicans a lesson by using their own thing against them. And because he didn't practice, probably, he wasn't a good shot. Thank goodness he was in a good shot. Because I don't want violence against our politicians. I don't want people to incite violence. That's not what most of the alternative media is about. In fact, it's about finding out the truth. And sometimes because we don't have access to the information and very few things are leaked directly to one of us in the alternative media, we've got to dig. We actually are the true journalists, the investigators. Not these people in the mainstream manufactured news that have things just given to them by somebody in government, or they have anonymous sources that give them information and then they report it whether it's true or not. Anyways, folks, again, we're up against a break. We're running a little long here. More on the flip side. Stay tuned.
Where do you think you're going?
Hey, man, don't go anywhere, man. The John Lebang Show will be right back.
Are you crazy?
Powerful, epic music by Toothbox Row. Life-changing lyrics come in every style, empowering humanity to finally unlock the chains of bondage. Experience the edgy side of positive music and rock your world today. From Primal to Divine, available now at sassyalternativemusic.com.
If you want to contact the John Lebang Show, feel free to send an email to jlebang@live.com. And if you're on Twitter, look him up at John Lebang. And don't forget to go to his Facebook page at The John Lebang Show. Banger. Now here's John.
All right, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, as we are entering the final segments here in the first hour this week. A couple last little things I would like to touch on. First, we're going to talk about the Bill Cosby, and please forgive my voice. We just got a new drummer in the band, and he's really made it sound a lot better. And last night I really was pushing the singing, and my voice is taking a bit of a hit. So as we continue on, Bill Cosby's trial was decided it was a mistrial. Now that's going to give the government a chance to look over why it was a mistrial, because the jury was hung. They couldn't come to a decision, so the judge decided to call it a mistrial, which allows Bill Cosby to have some more freedom for a little bit. But it to the greater point, and hopefully this is not interpreted that I'm supporting Bill Cosby, because I'm not. But if the government, who now is going to get a second chance to try Bill Cosby, when in the Constitution's Fifth Amendment we have a double jeopardy clause. If they can't convict you on the first time, and I understand that's federal, but it should, in my humble opinion, trickle down to the states. If the government can't come up with a good enough case to send you to jail with all the resources they have, and they can't convince a jury to convict a person, that's their bad, and they shouldn't get a chance to try you again. Oh, we missed something. That's their way of going, okay, what didn't we do right? Oh, I see, the jury didn't like this, so we fixed that. You should have had that fixed in the first place. So now you're going to drag us through another set of TV publicity of a major star and a rape case that you should have gotten right in the first place. If Bill Cosby is guilty of this, whatever you're accusing him of, because you're accusing him of something because you took him to court. He's having to defend himself. You should have had a good enough case to pass the first jury. You shouldn't get a second chance at it. But here they they fail in their job, a government agency again fails in their job to convict somebody, in this case, of the charges that they accuse him of. The case wasn't good enough to send him to prison. They had a hung jury. So just like all the other government agencies, they want to redo. That's okay. They want to redo. This is not like an appeal where you lost the case and you just want to take it in front of a different court. This is, we failed at presenting evidence, enough evidence to convince a jury to convict Bill Cosby of the charges we are accusing him of. And because we failed, like government always seems to fail, at least the people in government, we want to redo. Because a judge is part of the government structure, part of the brotherhood, the judge goes ahead and calls it a mistrial so they could have another chance at it. If a jury can't convict you, can't say you're guilty, then it's done. It should be over. Because the government should have such a great case to even bring you to court. There should be no maybe, hung jury. If the government is doing its job properly, it's going after true criminals that they can convict without a problem, and there's no case against it. But here, apparently, their case was so flimsy against Bill Cosby that they get a redo. And that's supposed to be justice because they can twist it now. They can find out what they screwed up on in the first place and fix that problem. And maybe next time we can convict him. And that's okay. Maybe we'll have another mistrial. And we'll get another shot at it again after that. And then finally, ladies and gentlemen, as I round out the topics for this hour, I want to know how the freak this happens. Because this is boggling my mind, how a United States destroyer collides with a merchant ship in Japan. Can't you see the boat coming a mile away? And after the USS Cole back in the 90s, you would think our government would have protocols on making sure they give wide berth, or they get wide berth, either way you want to look at it, when it comes to other vessels and our military ships. But guess not. Good job, Trump. Maybe you got to change the protocols there. Do something. Maybe this is residue from the Obama administration that hasn't been fixed up yet. I don't know. Is this incompetent? You have two captains of ships right here. You have the military Navy crew there who are supposed to be experts in their field. They know how to run a boat. I mean, you shouldn't be driving a boat or captaining a boat, a destroyer, unless you know how to do it. Then we have a captain and a whole bunch of people, a crew, on a merchant ship. And yet, this is, and this is not like it's a plane, okay? This is two boats. They don't go super fast, and you can see them a mile away. I mean, if you're on the lookout, and you would think at least the Navy vessel would be on the lookout, and they would have sonar. I can't believe this. It's like you couldn't avoid this. Now we have a damaged destroyer. And 7 men are missing as of when I am speaking to you. Hopefully they find these crewmen. But it boggles the mind. Because again, this is not a plane situation where they're coming in at super fast speeds. This is a boat. You can see it coming. You have lookouts. You're the freaking military. All the radar you have. Are you telling me it's this easy? We're in big trouble, ladies and gentlemen, if it's this easy to damage one of our destroyers. And if they were on some kind of collision course on purpose, maybe they were wanting to, and I don't know the case there. This is just me speculating. You didn't see it coming? I mean, don't you warn these? Don't you warn? Don't you know how to turn? I'm still trying to figure out how this happened. This should never happen. Two boats colliding, and especially a military boat. It's like we don't learn anything when it comes to the terms of the government, even in the military. We had the USS Cole in the late 90s there. Some terrorists drove up with a boat and blew it up. Boom! And hit the U.S. Cole. From then on, if we didn't have the protocols before that, from then on, we should have been having protocols in place to make sure that no boats, zero boats that can damage our ships get even close enough to do so.
Hey, John, are you ready for me yet?
Yeah, come on in, Shady. Let's get going.
All right, then.
So what's happening?
Not much is happening, but one thing is,
What's that?
you forgot to make all the announcements.
You know, I really did, didn't I?
Yeah, you said you were going to talk about it later in the show, and you never got back to it.
Well, you want me to do them now?
No, because we got a cool or uncool to do.
So I probably should do that in the opening of the second hour.
That's a good idea, John.
So you ready to go?
Yeah, just give me the intro.
This hour's cool or uncool is...
The John Lebang Show adding a third hour, and it's all about music.
Nice way to slide that in there, Shady.
Well, I like to slide it in.
When's the last time you slid it in?
Well, let me see. Too long. Now let's get going.
All right, our first call comes in from Montreal, Canada. Wilfred, what say you?
As long as it's loaded, well.
Okay, thanks for your call.
He really likes that Lawrence Welk.
Yeah, a lot of the older generation does.
Well, not me. I like that rock and roll stuff.
Yeah, next week we got Derek Schoenstein on.
I know you already talked about that. Now get back to the phone, John.
All right, our next call comes from Austin, Texas. AJ, what say you?
You alone will be the judge. You alone will be the jury of who's fake news and who stands for America and who stands against it. I'm Alex Jones, and this is the InfoWar.
Okay, thanks for your call.
Well, I figured he'd call in after you started talking about him.
Well, I felt I had to talk about it.
Next caller, John.
Over to Chicago, Illinois. Peppa, what say you?
As long as it's rap music, I'm gonna love it, baby.
No, it's not gonna be rap music.
Oh, honey, what kind of music's gonna be?
Good rock music.
Oh, then that's uncool.
Lady, you're uncool. Bye.
All right, thanks for your call. Up next, we go out to Sanctuary City. Abu, what say you?
Oh, John, I love the music. Can you play our music?
Well, I might be able to play our music, Abu, but that would be a little self-serving.
Don't forget band practices after the show.
Oh, I won't. I've been practicing my new song. Do you want to hear it?
You got a new song, Abu?
Yes.
Oh, God, not here.
Oh, come on. I want to sing it now. Oh, 1,
Oh,
2,
God.
3, 4. I'm just a singer in a rock and roll band. I like to play and touch with my hand.
Okay, thanks for your call.
John, we may have to find a new singer.
Why do you say that?
Because every time I hear him sing, I have to go to the bathroom. Speaking of bathroom, are we done here?
Yeah, we're done.
Okay, I'll see you later, everyone. Bye.
And that's it, ladies and gentlemen, for yet another 60 minutes of sonic vibrations known as
The John Lebang Show.
I'd like to thank all of our affiliate stations all around the globe. Don't forget to go to my website. That's www.jlebang.com. Thank you all for listening. I appreciate it so deeply. And until the vibrations of my vocal cords reach your ears again, and for some of you, that's in the next hour. This is John Lebang signing off from the Banger Studios.
Well, how you feeling, Nerd Eye?
I'm feeling much better. I'm about
ready to
Tune
go
in
start
again
work
next
on my new
Same
project.
time.
What's your new
same
project?
space,
I'm gonna
same
build an
station.
iron suit to protect me against enemies.
Well, I guess no one told you, but we're a little short on funding right now.
What do you mean?
Well, since Stony ain't been back, we haven't had a way to bring in any income.
Oh no, how am I gonna do my work?
Well, we're working on some alternative means right now.
Oh good, because I have lots of ideas.
Well, work on the cheap ones first, because that's all we can afford. I'm heading over to the kitchen. You want anything?
No, I'm depressed now. I don't want to eat.
All right, then. Well, I'll see you later.